Hey guys, so in this video I thought I would talk about my September TBR, so the books I want to read in the month of September. It's mid-August right now, so these are books I might have read by the time September starts, so we'll see. But basically I'm not giving myself like a big goal TBR, because usually how I read books is I see it and then I read it because I'm interested at that point and I'm like ready to read it because I made myself ready. And most books that like I want to read, I don't end up reading because I have to think about it, which doesn't make sense. So I gave myself I was just like, just pick 4 books that you're going to try and read in September, or just get done reading in September. And I was like, okay, small goal, we meet it, and then after September and October, maybe I can make my TBR bigger and kind of go from there as I practice. Because I've read a lot of books in the past couple of days. I think I read like 4 or 5, but they were in series, so I kind of wanted to finish those. I finished reading the Six of Crows zoology, so Six of Crows and then the Cricket Kingdom, and then in the Shadow and Bone series, I read Shadow and Bone, Siege and Storm. I'm halfway through Ruin and Rising, so I'm probably going to finish that one this weekend. But yeah, so to my September TBR. The first book that I want to read is Supernova by Marissa Meyer. I read this is the 3rd in a series where it's basically a town where there's good guys and bad guys, and kind of them being like superheroes are like all good and villains are all bad, and there's no room for a gray area, even though some superheroes are not good people and some of the villains are just people as well. They're not good, they're not bad, they're just in the middle. So it's kind of dealing with that, and this would be the final book in the series, and I've kind of been putting it off, I think, since April, so it's been a good 3 or 4 months that I've been putting off reading it, so I kind of want to pick that back up again. I have it on my laptop, so I'll be able to read it here while I'm traveling, so it's one of the books on my September to be read. The next one is Boy Parts by Eliza Clark. This book, I've seen it going around on TikTok on those You're Hot and Men Hate You kind of like book recommendation things. I really like watching those on TikTok because you get like so many like interesting new books to read, but this is one that I have seen going around on a lot of people's lists, and it's kind of like the main character isn't likable, and apparently people like that because they're seeing themselves in a character. But basically the main character in the book, she takes pictures of men like intimately, and kind of like how she talks about that and kind of like reversing the gaze in that way. The next book on my September TBR is Call Down the Hawk by Maggie Steffenheimer. I don't know how to say her last name. She wrote the Raven Boys series, which I really enjoyed that series, and I had read the first book, I think it was back in February, maybe March, and then the rest of the series I read like on like a whole day. Like I just read the last 3 books in the series in one day. I was like, oh my gosh, and like, oh my gosh, this series is over, and that's the end of these characters. But I just found out that there's a couple more books that she wrote that's in the same universe, around like the same ones. This one, I think it focuses on one of the older Lynch brothers, so not Ronan, but his older brother, and kind of with him. So I'm excited to read that one. Yeah, and then my last one that I want to try and read for September is The Days of Abandonment by Elena Ferrante. I think that's how her name is said. So I kind of already started reading this one, but I have some other books I want to focus on reading now. So basically this book is about a woman who gets abandoned by her husband, and kind of her coming to deal with the fact that her husband left her for another woman, and how she deals with not only the grief of losing her husband, but of the life that she was used to in their marriage, and kind of how she takes care of the children or doesn't take care of the children, and kind of her whole mental cycle. I really enjoyed this book, and I really love how it's written, where you're just kind of disturbed, but you have to keep turning the page to see what happens next. So that's my September TBR. If you guys have any recommendations, leave them below. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.